The probate property problem. Today I'm joined by Dan Marsden, who is a property commentator. And Dan, before we switch the cameras on, you said to me, you know what the problem with estate agencies, especially probates, is the fact is that agents are bottom drawing probate properties, selling them to their mates, and people are missing out big time. Why is that? Talk to me.
It is a problem. It's a massive problem, and it's a problem that's gone largely unnoticed because unless you work in the business, you don't know about it. Our business started last year. Our co-founders Nick and Russell started Probate.auction last year to address the very problem that the people that we are supposed to be serving in this industry are not being served because probate properties in very large numbers are being bottom drawn to investors.
So bottom draw means not properly going on the market, or if it is on Rightmove, it's literally on for hours.
Yeah, I mean, a very simple example. I mean, Mary walks into an estate agent. She's got, and we're just talking about unmodernised properties here, so houses and flats. So let's say 4 out of 10 properties are unmodernised that come to market. The other 6 out of 10, I'm not worried about those. They belong in agents' windows. That's how you sell property that doesn't need work. Fine. We have data that shows that 99 times out of 100 unmodernised properties, so you doer-uppers, classic homes under the hammer type property, sold through auction, achieve more money than an agent. And that is the narrative we've tried to change over the last 12 months because the perception of auctions is generally not a good one. But people think that sending a property to auction is either a last resort or that's where you get bargains. So what happens, Chris? What you
And
just
the
said.
agent themselves won't get a full fat fee anyway because they have to share it with the auction house.
Well, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I guess agent source property is slightly different. But let's say Mary goes into an agent's office and they say, "Look, I've got mum and dad's house. It's a bit knackered, but I need to sell it." And so the first thing the agent do, we know as well as anybody, and you'll know better than anybody, is that one of two things will happen. Either the agent will overvalue that property to get the instruction,
Yes.
and it will sit in that window for months until it finally finds its level. Or what is happening more often, because only under 5% of probate properties are finding themselves to auction, where it should be more like 40%. What tends to happen is you've got this bottom drawing. Effectively, the agent is calling a local investor, and typically the conversation will sound a bit like, "Hi, Bob, I've got an absolute corker here. I reckon I can get you on a deal," for guessing who the client is. Maybe even taking a bit of a brown envelope on the way in. That happens. That property is subsequently flipped in an auction 3, 4, 5 weeks later for a significant profit for the investor. Now, we spoke earlier, classic example, sale tracked last year, property on the market for 2 hours on Rightmove. It disappeared. It was sold for 400 grand. Appeared in an auction 3 weeks later, it was sold for 473. Now, that's bad enough in itself because the investors trousered that profit. The worst thing was the 100% beneficiary of that probate was a charity. So the charity saw 400 grand, they should have seen 473. Now that's a problem in itself, but when you magnify that tens of thousands, even hundreds, however many it is, I mean, what, 1 million sales or whatever last year, let's say
Yes,
10%.
all of those aren't going to be probates, are they?
Correct. So let's say 4 out of 10 sales are probates. Let's say, you've got 10% of that market, so 100,000 houses are probates, and 4 out of 10 of those are unmodernised. You've still got a massive problem where we're all supposed to be in an industry where we serve our client first. Well, probates, we're not serving our client first. We, the industry, are not serving the client in a way we should. We're not maximising the asset value. And the agent is doing that, really forgetting why they're there. They're there to serve the client, to get the most money for that property as quickly as possible without it falling through. And auction is, without a doubt, and I'm happy to be challenged on data outside of this conversation.
He does know his data, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are going to challenge him, make sure you have some damn good data because he keeps me on my toes.
So we know it's a problem, and Nick and Russell formed this business in April last year, knowing this was a massive problem. Nick has been investing in property for the last 30 years. Russell is ex-head of auctions for Savills, has been in auctions forever. we know it's a problem. We've addressed the problem, and one sale at a time, we can't attack it wholesale. Obviously, we're one small business, it's a startup. But in 12 months, we have properly served our partners. So our partners are probate lawyers who take these on in the first place. It's a huge education piece. It's a change of narrative around auctions to say, look, the autopilot is 3 valuations, local agent, give it to the one you want and cross your fingers and hope that it sells. Taking it to auction will offer more certainty, absolute transparency. You've got a competitive bidding environment. We maximise the value on those. So we'll outperform any agent in the land with those unmodernised properties. I would happily go head to head with any agent. And the bit the agents don't like is the buyer pays all the fees. So we don't even charge the client to sell the property. The buyer pays it. It's normal. So it's only a problem for agents with the 4 out of 10 properties that we're actively pitching for. It's not a problem for the rest. And if we all agree that we're here to serve our clients, and we're all here to agree that our job is to get these houses, these flats, whatever it is, sold for maximum value in the quickest possible time, and give people certainty, where we are in a market where there isn't much certainty, let's be honest, and you and I have talked about this a lot in terms of, you know, conversion of pipeline last year, it's pretty hideous. I don't think we're doing the best by our clients. So we're here to tackle the probate and the unmodernised property issue, and it's a huge issue, especially for charities. And I've been for the last few months specialising in work with the charities, because the charity sector is under a great deal of pressure. There are redundancies across the board because they're not getting the work. There are centres being closed down. There are lots of very vulnerable people and animals and things that, you know, at risk. And that's as a direct result of what's happening in the market with agents. The solution would be, dare I say it, for agents to send those properties to auction. And I don't mean modern method, and that's different. That's a different kettle of fish. I mean a traditional auction.
Please put your comments in the replies, and would love to hear what you've got to say on this. Do you think Dan is speaking absolutely spot on, or is he talking a load of rubbish? Thank you for your time today, Dan.
Pleasure.